It's not every day that you get to sit with someone who embodies wisdom, heart, and a fierce authenticity. Today, I'm joined by my good mate, Kim Morrison, the powerhouse behind 28 Essentials, which is a pioneering aromatherapy and self-care brand that's touched lives around the world. Kim is an author, a speaker, an ultra marathon runner, wife, mum, and a woman who just truly walks her talk when it comes to self-love, rituals, and resilience. She's one of those rare souls who can and does call out bullshit when it's needed. That's why I want her on the pod. And she lifts you higher and reminds you of the power of simply taking care of yourself. So, today in this episode, Kim, I want to dive into not just your story, but your passion for mindset and rituals. Because as an aromatherapist and a fellow pracky, I've learned so much from you over the years. Because Kim's gathered all this wisdom for decades, but she's also fun, she's honest, and I know that I can count on her being really real, if really real is a real word. My really real mate, Kim Morrison. G'day.
Hello, darling. I love an
I love it.
intro.
I told you I was doing this podcast, and I forget the line that you threw back at me, but it was like, I want to talk about how the invisibility thing's bullshit. And I went, yes, let's talk.
I think you're amazing. It's a topic that needs to be discussed.
I
It's
agree.
something that we've lost, and I'm really excited for what you're bringing to us today.
Thank you. Well, let's get going. Let's just start with that first. So, society here in the West absolutely is pushing that narrative that once women hit 50, we become invisible. And I'm hearing from women in their 40s who are considering themselves to be invisible now. So, what do you say to that bullshit? Because for me, I call bullshit on it. And yet at the same time, I understand how women are experiencing it. They're feeling invisible. So, how or what have you done to rewrite that script for yourself on visibility and relevance and powering on? Because I see you just fucking eh, doubling down and going for it as you age. I love it.
It's a wonderful thing. Look, to be honest with you, sweetheart, I never knew the story. I didn't know the narrative was there that we get invisible. I didn't realize I was becoming invisible, if that's the story that we've been fed. So I've probably never bought into it because I've always had such a beautiful appreciation and respect for women older than me. Even when I was a young woman in my 20s, a lot of my friends were in their 40s and 50s. I've always found myself drawn to the older woman because I freaking love her knowledge, her wisdom, and I've always said I want to be you when I grow up. So from my perspective, it's bullshit. It is total bullshit. I don't even understand the women that are saying it's happening. And so the question I always have is, well, why are you asking for permission for it? Why are you even seeking to not be invisible? If you're feeling invisible, potentially it's your story. So how do we go from shrinking to expanding? How do we look at being not invisible but freaking unshakable? And to me, as I get older, I just can't wait to get in and do life. I just love it. Every phase I've been through, there's been challenges, but there's also been beauty, grace, and growth. And so I probably call BS on it because I don't see it. I don't feel it. When I hear women say it to me as clients, or they'll say something like, I just feel like I'm not seen as I get older, then I say, well, stand up and be seen. Don't shrivel. Don't disappear. It's a story that's just being fed to you. It's not a truth. It's not a reality. And I'm with you in the sense that the more of us that stand up, become unshakable, look to our expanding heart, mindset, emotions, and knowledge, and know that the younger ones coming through are going to call on us. They need us. So, yeah, I don't think it's about being invisible, and I'm not asking for permission to be that. I'm standing here unshakable and wanting to be seen. Doesn't mean I want to be in world fame or anything like that. I just want to be seen by my children, by my family, by the people that matter. And I don't think they think I'm shrinking. So I'm with you. Here we are. Let's get out there and make them feel unshakable.
I agree. I use the word unmessable, unmessable, unshakable, whatever. Same. I've not known it. However, I've been aware of it through clients I've coached and things like that. And so we both work in that mindset world and for ourselves and our clients. So, how much do you see mindset as being that kind of the biggest weapon, as the place to start if someone is finding that they're fading into the background in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah, well, I think it's really important. If that's happening, that's an internal monologue. That's an internal story happening. Because if you think you're fading, you are. If you think you're expanding, you are. So it really does come back to that mindset, that choice, that decision on knowing that you're not fading. You are a worthy, incredible, full of knowledge, reputable, someone who's got the scars and the marks and the wounds and the stories that need to be told, because our younger ones coming through, they've got social media, they've got friendship circles, they've got people, which is all good and well. And I love the connections and the vibrational input that that has. But I asked my daughter just recently, who do you turn to for advice? And she said, the older woman, because we're just living it right now. So we need to know what's coming so that we're forewarned, forearmed, and we're ready for it. And so it's not a case of if we get knocked down or if we go through tough times, when we get knocked down and go through those tough times. I don't know about you, Jen, but I've not met a person yet, a woman yet, that said she's had the perfect life, the perfect body, the perfect health, the perfect amount of money, the perfect partner, the perfect house, the perfect car. It's not reality. Life is full of dichotomies, ups and downs, shakes, unnerving spirit and will calling to be the best we can be. Because if we can't show our families and our friends how to get through tough times, then who the hell will? So I just think it's a mindset. And here's the other thing, from a mindset point of view, the conscious and the unconscious. Well, the unconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and truth. So if we're going to turn around and start thinking that we're fading or we're invisible or we're not good enough, then the unconscious is just going to go looking for facts and truths to make it a reality for you. And potentially that's why I haven't felt it yet, because I don't feed my mind that story. And that's not an ego, I'm better than anyone else. I'm just grateful I've never had the story going on in my mind. Yes, I've had things wobble and go south. And yes, gravity is taking its toll in many ways. But that's also made me realize just how freaking amazing the body is. That I've managed here at 57 years of age. I'm still running, I'm still gymming it. I'm still doing my breath work. I'm still stretching. I'm still going to different classes. One of my girlfriends said to me the other day, you're a class junkie. I just don't know anyone who stops learning like you. So to me, I'm probably, my brain's gone on to what else is there, because
Mm.
I've felt the more I've learned, the more I don't know, and I'm willing to find it.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I've always thought of myself as a tree. So, I did my first personal development course when I was 23 and then, burned out at 26 and started studying natural therapies and mind and everything. And I remember, I forget who, but an instructor said to me, you're like a tree, Jen. And if trees aren't growing, they're dying. So we have to be constantly aware of what we're feeding ourselves, the same with our body, that if we're not feeding our mind the right nutrition, we'll go backwards. And so since then, I've been a class seminar junkie, constantly podcast, books, constant learning, because I'm going to be a fucking tree my whole life and grow strong so I can weather the storms. You're right. No one's had a perfect ride. And that's not it. That doesn't build a strong person.
Mm.
And so if we want to get through in age, we get to weather the storms and just get stronger over time.
Well, yeah, let's use the tree as the analogy. I freaking love it because, I use the tree as an analogy for mindset as well. If there's a problem or a belief that's not serving you, we want to get to the root cause of that. So we go deep. It's not about digging up the past, but we look at, where did that belief start? Maybe you had a mum at, once she turned 50, started feeling invisible, and you've just followed a narrative that you didn't even realize was an unconscious belief of yours. So we look to that. We may also look to the root cause, that there could be generational grief around aging. There could be something that's occurred over time that for many women, they did feel like they disappeared, especially when children left the home. Because when we take on the role of motherhood, our whole world becomes the role of being the mother, the provider, the nurturer, the nourisher, and all of these beautiful opportunities that we have the ability to do. And we raise these beautiful souls to become independent and able to live without us. Yet it's potentially the one thing we feel like we can't live without.
Mm.
And so it's a very tough transition that. And menopause tends to hit around the same time. So let's throw in the fact that we're menopausal, potentially with teenagers. God help our husbands or partners that are there having to live with menopausal women and teenagers in the same house. When you look back in time, Jen, we had children maybe from teens to early 20s. So we were well past being a mother as such or provider in our 30s. That kind of ended before we even hit menopause. So there's all sorts of things changing in the Western culture that really could become this big perfect storm where we're blaming it on becoming this crone that becomes invisible, where in fact we're colliding worlds of losing children. I say that in inverted commas so that they can go out and live their lives. But menopause comes into it. So who the hell are we? These thoughts, these feelings, these emotions, these hormones that we're learning to understand rather than berate or dislike. And then we're also looking at parents that are aging and flailing and potentially losing. So I think it's an incredible phase in our lives where everything kind of has come together. And maybe that is the root cause of all of these questions or these things that are coming up for us. But then I look at the tree, and when you understand from a physiology point of view, a tree can't move away from predators or danger or storms. It stands there and it learns to adapt,
Yeah.
to understand drought or floods or even fire or all of those things. And so the tree has this remarkable ability to pivot in its own roots, send out pheromones or messages to other trees to come in, or send out pheromones or hormones to change the taste of their leaves so that predators stop eating them, or send out warning signals so that we can smell them or be attracted to them when the fruits of those trees come along. And so I just think this is a wonderful metaphor. But one thing I will use as the metaphor as well with clients, I'll always say to them, are you coachable?
Mm.
And is it okay if I step in to coach you if I hear you? Yes. So that's wonderful. That's the first thing. Then the second thing I'll say is, look, I want to hear your stories. I want to understand what you're saying and where you're going with it. But when I feel like I've got enough of the story to understand where I need to go with finding the root cause, I may potentially stop you. I don't need to keep hearing the narrative because I've got it. It's the same story, different day, different outcome, but the story, the narrative is still the same. And is it okay when I hear you picking fruit, if I start saying to you, "Yeah, I've got enough of the fruit now, I've got the story, I've got it, I've got the," but if you start not only picking more fruit and then making jam, I'm going to say to you, I got enough jam. I got enough jam. We don't need to go there and stop with the story because sometimes, Jim, we tell the story so much we actually freaking believe it.
Keeps us
And
trapped. It totally
you then
keeps us
become
trapped.
trapped in it.
Yeah.
And now you're the jam.
Yeah.
Oh, look, honestly. So let's look at the fruit.
Mm.
What's the wisdom? What are the fruits of our experience? How can we use the fruit to become the metaphors to help others? Because ultimately, that's what it is in a tribe. The older women become our beautiful reference points for knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and then carving a path that maybe they may make it a little bit easier for us because they've already carved it. You only have to look at our forefathers and mothers throughout war, throughout time immemorial, throughout generational change to know that those women were trailblazing Wonder Woman, that we should be looking to them for advice, support, structure, pathways, intelligence, emotional understanding, because they've tread the path. Why do we want to go and wear down another path when it's already been done? So I'm with you on the tree. I want to become a tree of knowledge and create a family tree ensconced in our roots, where we've come from, and have reverence and appreciation for that rather than feeling like we're at the end. No, 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 no. We're not at the end. Our legacy lives on in the next generation and beyond.
It does. And before we got on this call, you were telling me about your grandmother, that you still go to her.
Well, I had two, obviously two beautiful grandmas. One died when I was 9, but she had a real love of plants and had a green finger. And I think I took my love of herbs and plants and using my veggie garden as a source of inspiration. And she was the one that always said, you got to hug trees. Trees and plants listen. Talk to your trees, talk to your plants, hug them, be a part of them, and know that they're here and give you life. So make sure you pay homage to that by respecting nature, by loving nature, by listening to nature. Now, that all, I got that at 9 from her, and I can't tell you what, why, or how conversations I had with her, but I have this love of plants. And the one thing I did when it came to educating around essential oils is she often said to me, plants can talk, listen. Listen to the whisper of the leaves. Listen to what they're trying to say. And with my love and your love of aromatherapy, we both have an understanding and appreciation that essential oils are like the life force of the plant. So, how do we connect into the life force of that plant that can connect into us? If we are living a symbiotic relationship with Mother Nature, well, I know and you know that if we were obliterated from planet Earth, Mother Nature would continue. If Mother Nature was obliterated from Earth, I'm not sure we'd last. So there is this very deeply etched reverence I have of Mother Nature and the women who have come before me that have used plants and tinctures and oils and beautiful healing parts of those plants to create herbalism, homeopathy, plant vitality, and plant medicine in order for us to live symbiotically in trust with Mother Nature. And it's thanks to our foremothers that we've actually found out which ones don't serve us. And I think they would have found that out in a tough time. The other grandmother, so that grandmother was Myrtle Millicent Rose.
Oh,
This,
she's got a gorgeous name anyway.
I love it. My other grandmother, Dorothy May. Dorothy taught me a love of baking, of food, of nutrition. Now, she was English, and I'm sure she boiled the hell out of everything she ever cooked. So I wouldn't call her the greatest cook, but she was a fantastic baker. And my love of baking, I'm sure, came from her. But she had these little nuggets of gold sometimes. One day I'm driving down, she immigrated to Australia at 91 years of age. So when women say to me I'm too old, I go, Dorothy wouldn't say so.
Go, Dorothy. I love it.
Dot immigrated at 91. And I got to travel out every 6 weeks or so. I'd go out and pick her up in Kingaroy, where she was living with my dad. And I'd pick her up and bring her back for 2 weeks with me. Every 3 months, 6 weeks to 3 months, we'd catch up. And I loved it. And she loved her rum and coke. She's the only person in the world I'd ever buy Coca-Cola for, but I figured she got to her 90s, she could have whatever the frick she wanted, and rum and coke was her thing. The other thing she loved was crumb fish. So I always made sure that I had crumbed fish and rum and cokes for Grandma Dorothy. When I was driving her home one day, I'm driving down the freeway, and she'd always put her hand on my lap and she'd say, Penny for your thoughts. And I said to her, oh, Grandma, I can't share this one. And she said, why not? And I said, it's really bad. And she said, oh, you've got to share it now because a problem shared is a problem halved. Let me hear it. So I turned up the kids. They were traveling with little, they were DVD players at that point, no iPads for them at this stage. So we turned up their sound so they're listening to their movie. And I said to her, Grandma, I have this horrible recurring dream that I'm going to have a head on car accident and I'm going to die. And she goes, oh, that's terrible. And I said, and the worst thing is I've just read a book called The Secret, and it's all about the law of attraction. And I feel like the more I'm saying it, the more I'm thinking it, the more I'm dreaming it, the more I'm going to attract it. And she goes, oh, darling, no, no, no. She said, no, listen, my darling, you've got to remember that human beings, we don't listen to the good things in life necessarily. We tend to really pay attention to anything negative. In fact, you'll notice a negative story is told 10 times more than a positive one. So, my love, when you hear a negative story or you have a negative thought, it's just the angels coming in to remind you. And so, I'm going to say to you, my darling, having that thought is just your angels are asking you to drive more carefully. That's all. And I've never forgotten it. And whenever I have negative
Reframe.
thoughts or negative feelings, the reframe for me is what are my angels trying to tell me? Because both my grandmas always told me we had beautiful angels, always supporting, always guiding. We just had to take the time to hear the messages. And I've read books by like Mutant Messages Down Under, signposts, anything like that at all. These books that I've read remind me that there are signals. It's just whether or not we're willing and able to be open to hearing them.
Mm.
And so, yes, my love, I feel very honored and privileged that she has taught me how to reframe the negative narrative that may come up. So when people say, I feel invisible, I wonder what the angels are trying to say. Are they calling you to become more freaking visible? Are they
Mm.
calling you to step forward? Are they calling you to stand up and be visible so that you can be that guiding signpost for future generations to come? Do not shrivel, do not die, do not become invisible because, according to my grandmas, this is the chance that we have to finally step into the wisdom years.
Mm. Oh, I love your grandma.
I love them too. Oh,
Oh,
another one she had one day. How's this one?
okay.
Another time. I
Go.
love this one. We're driving along, and this car, this idiot, comes driving past me, cuts me off, weaving in and out of traffic. I'm trying to get the window down to give him the fingers. I tooted at him. I don't know. I became this road raging nutter because he tried to cut me off. And Grandma goes, "Oh dear, I hope he's okay." And I remember looking at her going, "What? He's just about killed us, Grandma." And she goes, "Oh, darling. He may have just had a phone call that his wife's gone into labour, or he may have just had a phone call that his daughter or son has fallen off the play gym at school. Have you ever driven erratically when you've had bad news?" I sat back down there in the car and I was just
Oh,
like, hmm.
grandma.
Now, he may have been an idiot. He may have, but I'll never know. But
Mm.
what a beautiful turn of events. Because, yes, I have parked badly sometimes when I've tried to get into the school and I've had news that one of them have hurt themselves. Or, yes, I may have not noticed a truck coming out when I had a red arrow and I took a green. And I'm grateful he saw me. Yes, I've done dumb things. In fact, I question any person that's ever lived their life perfectly, like I said before. So when we do make mistakes, what if we could just give the wave of it's okay or pull back? Because maybe one day I'm going to look for the grace of that forgiveness when I myself am looking or I'm driving erratically just because I don't know what I'm expecting at the other end of that call. So, yeah, let's go, the grandmas. And I am so grateful I wrote both those stories in my book because I personally believe the reframe is powerful. And
Mm.
today, with us, if we can reframe this bullshit around invisibility, then let's go for it.
Yes, let's keep going. I agree. I agree. And probably the thing to throw in here is what I find with some people when they or many women are really good at it is if they notice, oh fuck, I've done that negative thing, and they'll remember your grandma story. I promise, I'll remember your grandma story. That when they catch it, notice it and catch it, instead of going, yeah, cool, caught that reframe, they go, oh fuck, done it again. It's like notice, catch it, and go, yeah, how cool, I caught that, and I'll reframe it to this.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing their best.
Yeah.
Like versus the old default, which is, to guilt trip yourself, which is just useless. So,
And
yeah.
it just creates more sabotaging behavior.
Yeah.
The ultimate thing when we have an awareness around a negative thought or a negative belief or a story that we've been fed or something that we really are grappling with, then how do we use that to give it the reframe? And another great exercise to do is to put a hair tie around your wrist. And every time you say something negative or you think I'm invisible, ping it because I'm
Mm.
sure it'll tell you you're not invisible. But also remind yourself that you have angels trying to give you a message. That's how I have really leaned into aging gracefully because as grandma said it's a privilege denied to many. So why would I want to hide from aging? Yes, I want to look my best, Jen. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to become a shriveled prune that looks dehydrated and uncared for or unkept. No,
Look after yourself. Yeah.
I really want to take care. And I truly believe that the first step in becoming aware that we're saying a negative thing or sabotaging or going down the guilt, the shame, the remorse pathway, yes, it's normal. Ping yourself, become aware. And I can tell you this, in all the great books I've ever read, awareness is the first step to understanding. So if someone's listening to this, you're already there because you're already aware that the crone is not to go, that the wise years are in front of us.
And they're
So,
fantastic.
oh,
They're so good.
how I love watching you and Alice.
Mm.
I love hearing your information. In fact, you have become my barometer, my invitation to step out further and louder. I'm very happy to do things with posts and photos, but my daughter, who is the next generation who's come in now to work beside me in 28, she's freaking poking me and prodding me, Jen. She is
Good.
saying, I need you to do a video on this. And I go, on what? And she goes, on why I should or shouldn't pop a pimple. And I go, I always pop pimples. And she goes, yeah, but the narrative is you shouldn't. And she goes, so do a 1 minute feed
Yeah.
on how you pop a pimple. And I go, cool, because I don't want to go out with a whitehead on my face. So yes, I'm going to pop a pimple. And so she just filmed me recently
Good.
teaching people on how I, in my 50s, pop a pimple.
I
And I
love it.
was taught by a beauty therapist on how to do it. So, all the beauty therapists out there that are going to have a crack at me for popping a pimple, no, it was a beauty therapist that taught me this. The key was to pop it, first of all, lance it with a needle that's been cleansed with tea tree or lavender, lance it slightly so that we don't create too much pressure, come in with two tissues, squeeze underneath, go around it so that we can get to the base of it and allow it to gently be released. And the real key to it was then you place a drop of lavender on a tissue or tea tree and hold that on there for 2 minutes. It's the 2 minute compressing that allows the skin to heal and get over the injury that we've caused through popping it. And guess what? We can then go out without this whitehead on our face. So she's calling me to action, beautiful Jen. And I'm really getting challenged on how to step out there because she does it so powerfully.
Well, see this? If you're watching this on YouTube, I wish I'd seen your bloody thing because I was on the plane coming back from China the other day and went, oh, that's tender. I went to the toilet and bathroom and went, oh, no, I've got a whitehead from, sitting on the plane a couple of weeks in China, blah, blah. And I
Yeah.
just scratched that fucker off. Well, here I am 5 days later, still healing it and using my lavender and tea tree. But, what can I say? I wish I'd seen that first. I love that she's
Oh,
stretching you.
oh,
I was gonna ask you kind of in your daily life, how do you challenge that belief and about the invisibility thing? And I think you actually just nailed it. You're coachable, you're open to learning constantly, you keep putting yourself out there because that's the thing. If we go, oh, no, it takes a lot of energy. I get it. I'm a happy little introvert. My safety is my home, and it's a big stretch for me to go out some days. My car hasn't left the house for 2 days,
yeah, I'm with you.
so it's not right. And it's like it's easy for me to be a recluse. And yet the thing that I put myself in other ways, out in other ways. And you do it too. That's all part of what keeps us young.
Yeah. And I
Just
think
constantly
too,
learning and testing it and growing our comfort zone.
well, I think, would you agree with me on this though? I feel called to do this work. I
Absolutely.
feel like I started my personal development training from the age of 18. And then when I was an ultra marathon runner and had people talk to me about mindset and how to take care of the body to give it its best, what you had to feed it, how we could use oils, anchors, music, all sorts of things to get the best out of yourself. Then I studied NLP at 23. So how similar are we?
Yeah.
23. Now
I
I
was
didn't,
30 when I did NLP. You reckon?
okay, well,
I'm
well,
older than you, probably the same time.
well, you know what? I didn't do anything with it. I didn't even really know if I understood it.
Mm.
But when I look back on time, because I didn't get into coaching or anything back then, but I look back on it and I realize all my life I've done reframing, I've done rapport building, I've done reciprocity, I've done mind games, I've done neurological programming, I've done all these things at an unconscious level. And potentially why I feel so grateful
Mm.
is that it's just become a part of me. And I'm still stretching myself. So, putting myself out there with this business, with our podcasts, with you and I speaking at different events, knowing speaking was my greatest fear, Jen. I
Same.
didn't want to do it. I got into the speech finals at 13. stood up on stage, didn't have any anchors or any rituals or any understanding of what I was doing, just couldn't wait to get off the stage, would get a bright red rash, my saliva would disappear, I'd get a white ring around my mouth, and I would really struggle. And this particular day, my speech was on advertising. I tried to write the most boring speech ever on advertising so that I didn't get in the finals. Get in the freaking finals, and I'm standing there on stage, and I've got my little cue cards, and in my head, and I call it a meta voice. It's a little internal voice that she's fantastic and she's also crucifying. But this particular day was when I really noticed her. And I started off, advertising is knowing all over the world. It can enrich the lives of others and cannot support
Remember
some
it.
of those. I remember it. And it was at that point the meta voice goes, shit, you're doing well. You haven't even looked at your cards. And in that moment, I looked down at my cards that were upside down and round back to front and froze. And then I tried to reach for the big velvet red burgundy curtain to find the gap to run. So the audience would have seen me trying to reach for the curtain and find it. And then the judge goes, Kim, it's okay. Happens to the best of us. Just find your place and keep going. You're doing great. Well, I
Mm.
couldn't wait. And the audience, you could feel them. They were all like, oh, the poor thing. Oh, this is awful. Oh, how embarrassing. Anyway, I swore from that moment on, I'd never speak in public again. I was fine as a captain of a netball team or house captain. I could do that because it was kind of like a role. But then when I was given the invitation to become an international speaker for an aromatherapy company, my heart said yes, but my head said no. And I knew I had to stretch myself. So that would be something I would definitely advocate. The older we get, in fact, there's this beautiful line: aging badly is the relentless pursuit of comfort. I don't want to get comfortable. So when people say buy a lazy boy chair, buy a one level house, get a car that does everything for you, I'm like, don't get comfortable. Keep stretching, keep pushing. So every time I'm invited to come on a podcast, I never say no. And
Oh,
even though
please
before
do.
this, I did an anchor, I did a ritual, I still get nervous. I
Hmm.
still get
Because you
worried.
care. Same. I
Yes.
still do two or three nervous peas in the last half an hour before any speaking gig. Doesn't matter if it's 10,000 on the stage or 10 people. I do the same nervous thing, and it's because we care. So
Thank
it's
you.
okay. So thank you
Thank you.
for caring.
Thank you.
I've
Because
just told the
I,
world that I pee before I go on stage. It's just
well,
very
I won't tell your audience what happens to me sometimes. So, no. Yeah. Lots of things come away. Yes.
ah,
Here's another thing to the person listening. You know, if you've ever hugged a speaker after they've got off stage, they're hot, they're sweating,
oh,
they
yeah.
have worked really hard. So yeah, and that's another thing that I've learned as I've got older. I may not like what the person's saying on a podcast or an interview or a TV show or something, but I have so much admiration and respect for the fact that they got up there and did it because I know how hard
How
it
hard
is
it
to
is.
do it. So, yeah, that's another invitation. Don't get hooked into the story, or if you're getting triggered or activated by what they're saying, potentially it's more about an unhealed part of you than it is about the person because it's an invitation for you to go after, well, how would I say it? Or what would I like to know? Or how can I stop following them?
Yeah.
Or follow
Yeah,
someone
you're a
else.
grown up. You're allowed to.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Yeah, true. So I love that. And for those people, I just want to throw it in people who are sitting there going, oh, great. So both you started personal development like in your 20s.
Mhm.
Here I am at 40, 50, 60, haven't done anything. Well, I think if you're even thinking that. And so if you're thinking that, go, okay, cool. Kim, you're the queen of self-love and ritual. What is something, I know, we're both mad aromatherapists, passionate aromatherapists, we're not mad. What are some things in your world that you do as rituals to keep you feeling safe, to keep being open to seeing what else is possible and growing? So for any women in their 40s, 50s, 60s now listening to this who are thinking, yeah, but how can they turn it to a yeah and by self-love and rituals?
It's a wonderful question, but let me just preface it by saying I think if you and I were sitting here and we got real deep and personal about our pasts, we would both be in tears. We've
Oh,
both got stories that have ripped our hearts out,
yeah.
spat us out, and literally been in the fetal position on a bathroom floor. So I don't want to stand here sounding like some perfect person who's had it all together and got all their shizzle in one pile. No. What I have learnt through things like sexual abuse, divorce with my parents, understanding aggression and anger, trying to reach out and understand what it means to lose everything you've ever owned through a decision that was not your doing. When you come to a place of realizing that you can still get up, still fight, and still live another day, I think the privilege of that has created rituals in my life that has made me really feel and understand what an honor it is to get up and breathe and live another day. So, yes, there are some days, and I'm going to say it out loud, I've sat in a pity party, a mosh pit of self despair. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a pity party every now and again, or having a girlfriend turn up with a bottle of kombucha or two bottles of wine or 3 cups of coffee, one after the other, whatever your poison is, however you want to look at it. Sometimes the connection with another beautiful soul who's there to hear your story or just hold you while you sob your heart out is way greater than any ritual. But I even call that a ritual. I have a feel sorry for me ritual. But what I've done with it, I've framed it where my feel sorry for myself ritual. Just last week, I had 2 days a pity party in bed with gastro. And I laid there, couldn't breathe hardly, coming every direction. And I laid there and I thanked the universe for giving me 2 days in bed because I literally couldn't move. Now, I am a full on person and I probably exhaust people being in their presence because I do not stop. And therein lies the problem. Potentially, I wasn't listening enough. Why did I pick up that bug? So the universe said, you know what, Kim, I'm going to give you two
I'll just
days in
stop.
bed.
Yeah.
And so had my oils, had my water, laid in bed, didn't even have energy to watch anything, read anything, or do anything. I slept and I was very grateful for that. So I have gratitude rituals, pity party rituals, but I also do daily rituals where my oils, and I know you'd agree with me on this one, like we come into this world alone, we leave alone. I feel like rituals, or sorry, essential oils for me have become my advocate, my best friend, my girlfriend, my buddy, my go to. Because as Nana said, plants talk to you. Well, essential oils to me are the go to for when I don't know what to say or I don't know what to think. And so when I wanted to educate about oils, I downloaded Nana, even though she's no longer with me. Nana, what would basil say? What would rose say? How would peppermint talk to me in these moments? And that's why I created these quotes on the cards around education because I wanted Nana with me. And I don't know where those downloads came from. But it felt right and it felt so cool to use her, use basil, rosemary, rose, all of these oils as my go-to. So sometimes I will just, and you and I are lucky, we have more than probably 50 single oils in our
Oh, yeah.
repertoire.
You have a lot.
But we've also created blends for the everyday
Mm.
user, and I freaking love your one at the moment. The fuck, the
Oh,
stress
my
and the mess.
stress.
I'm unmessable. There's just it's such a powerful anchor for where we're at, particularly in our life right now. What do I do with them then? Well, sometimes I'll just put a drop on a tissue and I'll pop it in my bra and I'll just smell it. I'll be a walking diffuser for the day.
It's on my desk.
Yes. Other days I'll have an aromatic spritz or an aroma mist and I have them in my bag. I have them in the fridge. And when it's cold, sorry, so hot, we're moving into summer now, I'll pull them out and have nice cold spritzes. I do a daily body boost, which I have not missed a day. I can say this hand on heart since I was 18.
Tell us
I'm
about it.
57. I wake up in the morning. I've either got the gym, the beach walk, a run or a walk, or I've got Pilates or some form of movement. Movement to me is key. When you go to any of the blue zones, people, the centurions, where we have more centurions on the planet, movement is one of the key things. So even grandma said it to me, Dorothy, in her 90s. Oh, darling, before you pee, or actually, she never said pee, she was English. She would say, before you go to the bathroom and do number ones, she would say, do earn it. Do 10 squats before you have the right to sit on the toilet so that you
Oh, go,
keep,
Nana.
yeah, so keep your quads strong because she said, darling, one of the most embarrassing things of all is I do not want a male nurse to help me to go to the toilet. So she always said, do 10 squats before you pee. And then after you pee, you've got to have a glass of water. So those were rituals I've embraced with her forever because then I've watered out, but I got to water back in again. So that's a wonderful ritual in itself.
Mm.
I also body boost, which is so after I've done my 10 squats and I've earned the right to pee and then I've had a glass of water, which is all wonderful things to do first thing in the morning. You can add some lemon juice to it so that you can activate the liver for cleansing. But then a dentist told me make sure you have it in a straw so that you don't ruin the enamel on your teeth. So I've taken all of it on. And then I will do my workout or go to the run and I'll put a drop of oil on or I'll use my blend and a tissue and have it down my gym top. Then I will come home and have my shower. This is the moment. My bathroom for me is my sanctuary.
Yeah.
And it might sound like I spend a lot of time in there, but no, I'm talking 2 minutes total. But you and I both know that a lot of women will put on, lather themselves in two, three, 400 chemicals before they even leave their bathroom
Yeah.
without any awareness of their shampoos, the chemicals in their skincare, their deodorants, their personal care products. Like we're talking not hundreds, potentially thousands of chemicals that we can lather on and wonder why we feel so detached as we get older because of the accumulation effect. So I'm going to say it and call it look at what you're putting onto and into your body as a feeling, as a mode, as an understanding that the cleaner you are as you age, then that's going to help the thought processes, the bodily functions. So be mindful of that. And as a naturopath, you have taught me so many beautiful little rituals around understanding how the bare ass minimum, which I freaking love, is the most important thing we can do to make sure we are at our best. So the body boost ritual is then take a teaspoon of carrier oil, could be coconut oil, could be jojoba, could be sweet almond, could be apricot kernel, could be olive oil. I then add 3 drops of my favorite 3 oils I'll choose for that day to support how I want to feel more of, or a blend. And I add now some sprays of magnesium because apparently magnesium is very lacking in this day and age, no matter how healthy we are. So why not? It's also a part of 400 different functions in the body. So I'm going to help my magnesium fire all those neurological processes in the body.
Yeah.
I rub it together. I slap it on. I'm naked all the way up my body and over. And then I go back and I rub it all in. Now, I'm talking a teaspoon of oil. So it's not a lot. It's the process. I want to feel like I'm glowing, not greasy. I want to feel like I have just lathered myself in a hug. So I'm rubbing my body all the way up, honoring it, saying thanks for working out in the gym. Thank you, my beautiful body, my tummy that has stripes of honor for housing. I grew 2 freaking humans in there, so I've got to be thankful for that. I've got
Yeah.
2 boobs, they're mine. There are so many women out there that would give anything to have their boobs back because sadly they've lost them through disease. So
Yeah.
I'm going to love them no matter how saggy they are, and I'm going to honor them for the fact that they fed 2 babies up until they were 18 months of age. And
Mm.
then I massage my arms for the ability to hold my husband, my children, my loved ones, my friends. I'm able to write, I'm able to move. And then the last thing I do, this is all in 30 seconds, is I'll come together, place my hands over my face, and I'll say something nice like, I'm unstoppable. I am someone who matters. I'm an extraordinary woman. I'm a great mother. I'm a fantastic businesswoman. I am a fantastic, freaking awesome crone who has a lot to tell lots of different women and others out there. Whatever it is, I will say something powerful every morning. And I've done it every day since I was 18. On the days that I'm struggling, because then people will say, oh, yeah, well, that's all very good and well. You've obviously got a great life. It's all good. Hey, happy chappy, happy clappy, good for you, Kimmy. On the days that it's tough, and there are bathroom floor moments, I can assure you, I will still not give up on myself and still body boost and still aromatically anchor in something. And those days I'll just be really real and authentic. God, give me the courage, grace, and strength and dignity to breathe through this day. Or
Mm.
God, give me the courage to do this moment by moment, breath by breath, day by day. Allow me to show up the best I can in this moment. So I'm pretty real with it and
Mm.
I'm pretty honest with it. But I would also say I'm pretty freaking awesome with it. I, honest, hand on heart, never missed a day since I was 18.
Consistency. Well, that's the thing. You're setting us of what that when we do rituals of any description, and call them what you want. Rituals are repeated actions done consistently. So when you do them preventatively in the good times, that's all part of what gives you the strength, or gives us the strength to weather the tough times. It's so important.
And the tough times come, right? We know they're going to
100%
come.
crappy time.
I was at a funeral just last week
Chocolates.
and I was listening to his eulogy and his life. And I sat there for a minute and he was only in his 70s and a beautiful soul. And I learnt things about him and I thought, I wonder what my eulogy is. I wonder what someone will say mine is. I wonder, am I writing the eulogy as I'm living it? Yes, I am. I'm absolutely showing up. And here's the thing, we all know that it's hard to be around people that are constantly down or in a constant pity party or victim mode mentality. And yes, we've all been there, but it's hard when you're around people that are that. So, the question I have for you, and this was said to me, oh, and it really landed. There's 5 levels of evolvement into being the best version of you. We all know people in victim mentality, we've all been there. The next level up is the pessimist. So we go from victim to pessimist, the pessimist who may not be as bad as the victim, but they still glass half empty, life sucks, it's never easy, that kind of mentality. Then we flick to the optimist. And I've always thought, oh, I'm an optimist. And the optimist is a bit Pollyanna-ish. They see the good in everything and potentially, which the next level up, the realist, they miss, is that there are vulnerable, tragic, sad, bad moments, but the realist sees them but still has an optimistic outlook. And then the ultimate, depending on what you want to call it, let's call her the crone, the warrior, or the competitor, the highest of all, where we're just living our life on purpose. We give it our all. We stand there totally visible, worthy of presence, care, and joy, knowing that all of the actions we take on a daily basis, this is why I think rituals are the key to growing old gracefully, that they become an anchor and a reminder that your well-being is freaking sacred.
Mm.
Don't underestimate it. Don't underestimate the power of being strong and brave. And just every time a challenge comes up, or every time something says, the narrative of you get invisible when you get older, who told you that?
Fuck you.
And is it true?
Seriously. That's what I think. Well, there's no fucking way. I'm not buying into that game.
Is it really true anyway? Who told us that? Uh,
You don't have to
so
take it on.
so let the beauty, let the laughter lines, let those wrinkles be a wonderful reminder of years lived, cries, tears cried, moments birthed, and also I loved what my beautiful grandmother-in-law always said. I want to skid into my grave, she'd say, and she skidded. She danced on tables at 80, by the way.
Oh,
Still smoked her Longmore cigarettes and had her bloody whiskey on ice and danced on her 80th birthday, which was actually her 79th. She got it wrong. She got the dates wrong, so we had another one a year later. But she said, "I'm going to skip and dance into my beautiful into the grave." And I loved having women around me like that
mhm.
told me that that is a choice. And so I've always thought, I'm going to skid into my grave dancing. I don't want to go down, hooked up on machines, God forbid, and again, not knocking it because I understand it provides life. But let me say it this way. If you invest in your well-being now, no matter what your age, then you're giving yourself potential to live the rest of your life being the best of your life,
Mm.
rather than being indoctrinated into the pharmaceutical or hospital welfare system, which is great, it could keep you alive for 10 years. But I want to go down
Oh,
screaming, shouting,
sorry.
laughing, playing. So I think listen more to the beautiful Jen, because what you and Alice have in particular is you're, I don't want to say anti-aging, you're reversing aging. You are getting
Both
younger.
are. We are. We look at photos of each other, apart from, going grey and stuff. We're in way better shape than we were like 20 years ago. It's
I
crazy.
even think I am. I think I'm getting better as I get
Oh
older.
shit, you are.
Yeah. And I
But
think
oh, gone.
I just was going to say, I think it's through listening to women like us,
Yes.
you, Alice, who do not buy into any narrative other than being the best we can for the rest of the life that we can. So enjoy it, front up, live it, and know that age doesn't diminish beauty. In fact, it opens it, it creates it, it deepens it, it gives more to us. Because one of my grandmas also, Dorothy May, also said, when I got her to be a model in one of my books, and she said, "Oh dear, but I'm nearly 90." She said, why do you want me? And I said, "Because you've got a twinkle in there that I want to capture." And
Mm,
she said, "Oh, so you think the twinkle is what makes us age well?" And I said, "Yes. Yes, I actually do. I do." And
mm.
she's got this, she used
Bit of
soap and
chippiness.
water on
Yeah.
her skin. She used oil of Ulay. So it's not about fancy skincare and having to do all these fillers and do it. If that's what floats your boat, do it. But you don't have to.
Nah.
You can do it in the way you want to do it. So that's what I'd say. Do what floats your boat. Know that you don't have to listen to any narrative except your own. And if you do hear one, know that you matter and know that you can question it. You can challenge it. And here's the other thing. What if everyone listening to your podcast, every one of us that are in this vortex, this circle of influence, we decided to change the narrative and we stood up and went, we're visibly, powerfully, authentically freaking amazing, no matter what our age. I want to live with that one.
Borrow our belief. And I was just about to say, when you still talked a second ago, I remember when what I would have been in my 30s when the Golden Girls came out. And when the Golden
Yes.
Girls came out, they were the permed hair and Austie dress wearing women. They were in their 50s when they made that show. For fuck's sake, I'm 64. I still get around in t-shirts and I wear ruggers, boys' shorts, guys' shorts. I dress the same way as I did when I was 20 and I'm allowed. So I think role models are different, and a lot of women are still buying into that. But I'm 50, I have to get a bob. And if you've chosen to get a bob and you love it, fantastic. Not because the hairdresser said, "Well, it's 50, time for you to get a bob." It's like, no, like own your grace, do do you. The, and borrow the belief from us and all these other legendary women out there as if you want to see us as role models and think, well, I just want even want 10% of what Kim's doing or what, or Jen's doing or Alice or whoever. Just know that it doesn't matter where you are. The sun got up this morning, which is why I love surfing a sunrise. It is a new day. And we can choose to even do a 1% change in
Yeah.
life. And that will give us a different result as we age.
And do you know what I've also learned is as I've gotten older, the desire to judge or to have an opinion or to think that what I've got to say is important. I've actually even learned as I've gotten older to sit back, to observe, to,
Mm.
and be okay. If, like you say, if women want to have their hair long and they're in their 80s, go for it. If
Yeah.
women want to cut their hair short or go grey in their 20s or 30s, if that's happening, go for it.
Yeah.
There is no rule.
No.
Danny was just saying to me this morning, I said to him, I asked him this question because I knew I was about to come on the show. I said, "What do you think is the problem with aging? I mean, you're a man that's nearly 60. Do you still look at women and think they're beautiful or men as they're getting, like, what's it like for you?" And he said, "Look, I think the hardest thing for young people potentially is social media with the comparisonitis and, with the Kardashian craze and people getting fillers and buttocks things. And I've watched things like botched, I don't know, surgeries where they've had so many surgeries to keep young that they now don't even look like who they are. I mean, yes, it saddens me because I thought they were beautiful before they started all of that. I think that's, again, if it's what floats your boat and you think that's what you need to do, I'm not here to judge you or stop you or tell you. But when I was at the hairdresser's I even said it to her the last time. "Do you think I'm getting too old to have my hair long?" Like, I actually questioned her, "Do you think I'm getting too old?" And she goes, "Oh my God, your hair is so healthy and so well. Absolutely not. Have it long for as long." Because I was concerned that maybe I shouldn't.
No,
Like, I
Alice
did.
is growing hers. She's
Yes.
been growing it this year. It's like, and it
It's
looks so fucking cool.
it's still yacht long. I've got the
I
longest
know.
hair.
Well, you always keep
And
it long. I'm just a short hair girl. Like, yes.
yes.
To
And I
what?
love that about us. And yes, if people are asking, yes, I still get highlights. I haven't quite gone the whole grey route. I've got them, but I don't mind if I do. I'm not
Your
attached either
game, your
way.
game, your game.
I just enjoy having the treatments. I do go and get BBL, which is some sort of laser therapy. Oh gosh, I can tell you this. You're going to laugh at this story.
Go on.
Of course, people talk about Botox and talk about all these things. And I've never bought into it, never thought I had to. But anyway, I'm having my BBL one day and she says to me, "Have you ever thought about Botox?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And she goes, "Well, you just got these really deep crevices. Now, these crevices have come about on my lips. Potentially, I've not been a smoker, but I did used to get a lot of cold sores and they would scar and they have scarred around my lips. And I have had a frown mouth. Yes, yes,
In
see?
Chinese medicine, they mean that we're barren. Our ovaries have shriveled up. It's called excess kidney yin. It's actually a sign of aging. It's good.
Whoa,
Own
okay.
it.
Well,
Own
anyway,
it. It
well,
means
here,
we're Crohn's.
well, let
Ah,
me share this with you. She
go on,
said to
go.
me, she goes to me, "Could I just put a little bit in?" And I thought, you know what? Maybe I should try it and not knock it before I try it. Like,
Yeah,
maybe I should. Anyway, hurt like hell having these little bits put across. I think she did 4 little bits across the top and 2 here.
yeah.
Anyway, didn't notice it, didn't feel it. And then a couple of days later, just noticed that my lips were feeling very, I don't know, puffed out. Well, my son was playing rugby and he gets this try. And I go to whistle and I went, I was so freaking devastated I couldn't whistle. Then I had to turn
Oh,
around to her next time and go, "You can't do that to me." She goes, "Oh, did you not like the results?" I went, "If I can't whistle because my kids get a try or my daughter's doing great on stage, no, I can't get Botox."
good
So
reason not
to
to.
to me, it was like, actually, that means more to me than
Yeah.
the lines. And
Mm.
so, again, not judging it, because some women I know get skin dermabrasions and peels and they do things. And you know
And
what?
that's their
Again,
choice.
if
That's their
that's what
choice.
floats your boat. I think my skin looks better as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Yes, it's more wrinkled. Yes, there's lines. But I think of grandma that day. I asked her at 89 to be in my book, and she said, "Oh, darling, what about all my wrinkles?" And me saying to her back then in my 30s, "Grandma, wrinkles are a sign that
Oh,
you are
right.
aging beautifully. You've lived life." So I want to make sure I listen to my own advice from when I was 30, and I'm embracing the wrinkles and the sagginess and everything. But here's the other thing. It doesn't mean I've given up on myself. And I want to
No,
make that
not practice.
distinction. I
Yeah.
have facials. I do laser treatments. I do treatments with my hair. I will go and have once a month a massage. I have chiropractic care every week.
Mm.
I move my body. I feed it. I meal prep. I plan. I Everything for me is around food and what this body is going to get next. So I probably am a little bit infatuated with the rituals of taking care of myself. So I do think
Uh,
that that is
and if
very
you're honest,
important to me.
you know the value of preventative medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've had you in my corner for 35, 40 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
Thanks.
and I really value the naturopathic vitalistic approach to life. I really, really do. And I would turn to a naturopath any day, a herbalist, people that understand Chinese medicine,
Mm.
understanding our qi, our organs, our meridians. I feel very connected to that way of speaking and healing and healthcare. Having said that, when I had to have 2 back surgeries through trauma and things like that, I was very grateful for morphine and
Yeah, it has its
very
place.
grateful
100%. Yeah.
for emergency
And a
care.
scroll
So
of essential oil is not going to stitch a cut head. No, no.
I think
Oh,
you and I are on the same pathway for that one too.
speaking of essential oils, if the crone were an essential oil, which one would it be?
Oh, for me, Rose,
Yeah.
I look at the rose. She's the symbol of love. She's the symbol. You look at the petals of a rose when you go into a microscope and you see those little hairs. It's very velvety, which to me is like the skin of us. I look at the rose, the way she blooms and the way she comes out. And then even when the rose fully dies, the rose hips and the beautiful, it seems to be this wonderful continuum of
Mm.
life, grace, and beauty. The scent, the
Mm,
aroma of rose. Also knowing that from a vibrational frequency point of view, she raises our vibration. And my nana grew the most beautiful roses. I mean, Myrtle Millicent Rose. You can't help but understand her love of plants and
mm.
the roses she grew. I just used to love watching her prune them, and then she'd even say things like, "Oh, don't underestimate the power of the rose, my dear. The thorns, they're there to keep away evil, the darkness, the bad, but of course, the thorns are also there as a protection. So don't lose your thorns." She'd
Mm.
always make sure we had a
Boundaries.
protective layer, boundaries,
Yeah.
understanding that we don't have to let narratives or stories come
Oh,
and keep the
yeah.
beautiful thorns there to protect that and keep our boundaries, but grow through the grace of the rose. And I think a rose is one of the oldest flowers. The lotus would be another one that I absolutely look at and revere because it grows out of muddy waters. But I do particularly love the rose, and I always have and potentially always will. And I love her as my perfume. I love putting a drop on my heart. It's the oil for love and self love, romance, fertility. Like,
Dropping the
I
guilt
just,
down that we put up when we've been hurt in the past. It's so
yes.
practical but beautiful oil.
And the rose is so strong and yet so delicate,
Oh,
which is what I see the woman, a woman,
crone is.
so strong and yet so delicate, so sensitive, so powerful. And coming back to your analogy of the tree, even looking at a rose bush, if we looked at that as a small tree, a plant, again, the roots matter, the trunk of that, the life force that comes through it. Also knowing, and this is where I look at essential oils so powerfully and what the tree does. Many different plants and trees and different parts of the plant, they can relate to the different parts of us, which is why I love what you teach. And I don't know anything at all really around traditional Chinese medicine. But when I hear you talking about the meridians and how we can use oils to help unblock those pathways, well,
Mm.
it's all about vitality and all about learning to understand that our chi, our power, the twinkle, that's the twinkle grandma was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to me, just
Oh.
maybe look to Mother Nature, Father Sky, and know that the two of them together, we can live in symbiotic unity with both. And what if when we look at you, have you been to New Zealand?
Oh, dozens of times. So many times.
The kauri tree, which grows the
Yeah.
trunk like the barber tree, straight up the whole
Yeah.
way, and knowing every ring is a year. Like, what have they endured?
Yeah.
How do they keep away parasites, bugs, all of that? Become the tree.
Yeah. Be the tree. Be the
Be
tree.
the tree. Be the tree.
Kim, where time is getting away, I want to know what is there one most important thing we haven't talked about yet that you want to lean into about being the crone this time of life?
Well, maybe, and we touched on it at the beginning, but what is truth? What is real? Like we could go down a quantum realm here of what is a true, real life? What does it mean to be living your truth, living in reality? Here's the beautiful thing. We all have the privilege of creating our truth, creating our reality, and you could even create a new one as of here and now. You could let go of old stories and truths that you thought were truths that were just replayed photocopies of stories that have been told, or you could buy a new narrative, a new story, a new truth, and live into that. But you have to create a new truth is to create new wiring. And that is why I do believe something like oils, smell and music are two very powerful modalities that are hardwired directly to the brain that can evoke emotions, and emotions drive behaviors. So use music, use oils or smells to anchor in a new story, a new trajectory. And let's move into these crone years together with our amazing Jen, living it, knowing that we are worthy of presence, joy, and actually being able to be here is a privilege.
Mm.
Never forget it. Denied to many. I
Yeah.
will finish with this. I asked a lot of people from the age of 5 to 95, what is your definition of beauty? And I loved the answers. I had a little 5-year-old girl called Shelley say, "Beauty is my cat," which I thought was so cute because that's how she saw beauty. My grandma, Dorothy, said, "Beauty is people who are kind from the heart and truly mean it." My mum said, "Beauty is knowing who you are right here, right now, because you're never going to be as young or as old again. Be in the now." My beautiful 7-year-old boy, Charlie, said, "Beauty is makeup." 7-year-old Lennox said, "Beauty is no makeup." And then my favorite of all was a little 6-year-old girl called Mia who said, "Beauty is being yourself, but with a sparkle." So, my dear friends and listeners, let's be the sparkle.
Yeah.
Go and put on something that's a bling. Buy yourself a diamond or a fake one if you need to. Put on some fairy lights. I love glitz and I love sparkles. So sparkles to me are the reminder that
Mm.
beauty is being yourself, but with a sparkle, or in Grandma's words, a twinkle.
Yay. Kim Morrison, if you could go back to your 18-year-old self with the wisdom you've got today, prior to when you did your first personal development class at 18, what would you say to yourself?
Oof.
What
Life
would
is
you
going to
have?
give you some real joyful but challenging forks in the road. Trust your gut, tap into your heart, lead with love, and know that you will get through anything and everything. And I would say this, maybe it's because I'm biased, but at 18, I would definitely say your oils are going to become your rock, your anchor, and the trajectory for all the rituals you embrace for the rest of your life. Don't ever stop using them.
Kim, where can people follow you? To find these pimple popping reels and all the other important stuff, your self-love project, holy shit. Like seriously, you've got an amazing podcast on self-love. You are the queen of self-love. How can people follow you? What's the best places to follow you? And look, we'll put the links in the notes on everything on Apple and everywhere. But
Thank you.
where? Where's
I,
the best places to find you?
I really appreciate you, beautiful. And if you aren't sick of me yet, then yes, I've recorded well over 1,000 podcasts to date. But you can find me on kimmorrison.com or the word 20 and the number 8.com. So kimmorrison.com or 28.com, and you'll find me through all the links on those two websites.
Yay!
I love you.
I love you too. I love
I
you more.
love you more than that.
It's not a competition, but I
No,
love you more.
I've done the math. I love you more.
It's a gift for me to learn from the wisdom, the women that I get to interview on this podcast, and just you're divine. I love your heart in so many ways, and I know the women will have gotten so much from today. So thank you. You are living proof that aromatherapy fucking rocks,
Oh, I'm with
and
you,
that rituals and
girlfriend.
mindset and all that kind of stuff gives you that heart for life.
I
Hmm.
adore you and I thank you wholeheartedly for the work you do. You really are one of my greatest mentors, and I do not say that lightly. I
Hmm.
love you, darling.
Same. Thank you.